Good morning, my sweet friends. Thank you so much for coming and visiting. I just want to tell you a little story today. It's a story about my mom, but before we get to that, I just wanted to relate something to you. You know, there's times in our lives when we wrestle with our faith. And it does not mean that you are lost your faith or you don't believe anymore. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means you're fighting for your faith. You're trying to restore your confidence in what you believe. The story that I'm going to tell you is kind of a little bit about that. When my mom passed, it was very, very difficult for a lot of us because she was a total woman of God. She loved the Lord with her whole heart, soul, and mind. She helped every needy person on the planet. If she met someone at the grocery store and they were out of luck, out of money, out of anything, she would have them moving in with us the next day with their 6 kids. That's just the kind of person she was. But she lived a very hard life. When she was 7 years old, her mother had passed, and she had 4 little younger brothers and sisters that she needed to help raise. She was alone with her father, with the kids, and he barely spoke English. He came here from Italy. So it was a really difficult time, not to mention she was born severely hard of hearing. She was almost deaf. But she worked tirelessly and she never ever complained. She loved her family and that's what she did. But when she passed, it left a huge gap in our family. I mean, needless to say, she was an incredible woman. I've not met anyone like her ever since I've been alive. If you could only have one friend in the world and it was her, you had enough. Trust me, she was that kind of friend and that kind of person. I consider myself a solid Christian. I always have. And for some reason, when my mom had passed away, I was wrestling with that. And I was pleading with the Lord a lot, asking him to give me some sort of assurance that she was with him, that he had her. I just wanted to hear it, see it, feel it, something. I wanted some sort of sign that she was with him. And I've never done that before in my life with anyone that has passed, not even my father. But with my mother, it was different. And I don't even know why, but here we are. Now, I'm praying with him to give me some sort of assurance. Now, this happened many, many years ago. And then she passed away in February. So February, I'm praying. March, I'm praying. April, I'm praying. Nothing. Now we're rolling around into May, just like this. It's the first week of May. It's Mother's Day week. I go to church with my family. We're all sitting there listening to the sermon. Of course, the pastor's giving a sermon on Mother's Day. But he's highlighting one woman in the Bible named Tabitha. Now, I don't know much about Tabitha. All I knew is she was a godly woman. That's it. There's 2 verses on her in the entire Bible. So I really didn't know much outside of that. But then the sermon is going on and he starts to make all these comments about what kind of woman she was. She was a very godly person, that she helped all the needy people in her town. And I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of like my mom. And then he says she was a seamstress in her town and she sewed for everyone. Now, my mother was a professional seamstress as well. And I'm thinking, I lean over to my daughter and I'm like, wow, that sounds like grandma, doesn't it? And she goes, yeah. So now he's finishing the sermon and he's like telling about how when she passed, they took all of her wares, all of the beautiful dresses and things that she had sewn and created for everybody, and they hung them all the way around the room on all the walls for everyone to see while they were mourning her in the bed. And I'm thinking, holy cow, now I'm starting to get chills, because that is the exact thing that we did, not in my mother's room, but at the chapel when we had her service. In the back of the chapel, we blew up big poster-sized pictures. We had all the beautiful pictures of things that she wore. We even brought some things that she had made, and we displayed them for everyone to see. Now I'm thinking to myself, this is nuts. I look up to heaven, and I'm just in the church, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus, because that was the best Mother's Day gift I could have ever gotten. I know right about this time you're thinking, oh, Connie, you are crazy. You're just reading something into this. It was just a coincidence. No, 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 my friend. This woman's life and the way she lived and what she did and who she was running parallel with exactly my mother. And the way they conducted her funeral was exactly the way we did my mother's. That sermon, first off, could have been about anybody. It could have been about Esther, Ruth, Naomi, 1,000 other women in the Bible who were very prominent and everybody is aware of their stories. But it wasn't. It was about one lady named Tabitha with 2 verses about her. Why? I do not know. But I'll tell you, God knew I was struggling with what I was asking for. And I needed that assurance. And he gave it to me. I want to encourage you right now, right about this story. Don't be embarrassed to ever ask God to give you peace over something that you are struggling with or something that just isn't sitting right with you. Because you know what? We're human. That's it. It doesn't mean that you're a weak Christian. It doesn't mean you don't believe. It doesn't mean you don't love the Lord. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you need an extra little dose of something. That's all it means. We're his children. He knows us. And he wants to give us that blessed assurance. He doesn't want us to be angsting about anything or anxious about things or questioning things. He wants to put our minds at rest, that he is always there and faithful. So let's never forget that. He created us. He knows our makeup. He knows our fallen state. He knows every single thing about us. He knows our minds wander. He knows we question things. He's a loving father, and he's not going to think or love you any less if you ask him. So when you question something, don't ever confuse questioning with doubting, because it's not the same. You're questioning because you just want peace. I want you to remember this sermon. If you have any friends that are struggling with anything like this at all, I want you to share this with them, because that sermon meant so much to me, and it was exactly what I needed. So you know I love you. You enjoy this beautiful spring weather that we're having, and I'll be back next week with another story. We love you so much. Bye.